Greetings. I've been putting off making this video for a little while. I was waiting on a couple more key pieces of gear to show up. But this video is going to be about communications. As you know, cell phones are nice, but look how quickly they turn those off if you don't pay your bill, right? Things could possibly happen. You can't pay your bill. Also, I believe that they could turn them off at the flip of a switch just because they were told to do so. Cell phones have GPS chips in them. They know exactly where you are at any given point in time, right down to a 3-meter square. And they're randomly checking with computers the words that are said. Keywords trigger red flags, and indeed maybe that whole conversation gets now scrutinized. So, maybe the bomb just meant your favorite band. Hey, that band was the bomb last week. Well, by God, they're listening to your conversation now. And of course, they'll discount that one as being nothing. They're looking for a guy with a real bomb. But that's not the point. They still, Big Brother can be listening. That software has gone through many different stages. They can read emails with it, do a lot of things with it. Applying it to the airwaves is no big deal. After all, they're digital, right? Anything digital, don't make the distinction that it's any different than your computer. It's bits and bytes. If it's digital, they can check it the same way. So your cell phone is not your most secure form of communications, especially in a time of crisis. Generally, if there is any country where there's been a riot, they turn the cell service off, shuts things down. If you look at Waco or Ruby Ridge, wow, they certainly turned off the guy's power, and in both instances they made sure there was no phone service in there except a dedicated line to the negotiator, who was not much of a negotiator. So phone lines, whether it's a landline or whether it's a cell phone, is not a good piece of emergency communications. Now, there are a number of things you can get and use, and I am going to suggest that you do as I did and get a variety of them. One thing that's been fairly new on the market, and I say that in the sense of in the last, 8 or 9 years, maybe even 10, hard for me to gauge, but on the family service band, they have walkie-talkies. There are multiple little frequencies. These are on the FM. They have good penetration in town. If you're in a big city and you need to communicate with other individuals in the big city, I believe these probably penetrate buildings better than a lot of other things. So your range may be better. Definitely you might get a couple of miles on the open road following somebody or whatnot. Not a bad backup little radio for close communications to have. But I do believe, and I put my money where my mouth is that the primary mode of communications you might want to be thinking about is the good old-fashioned citizens band. I know, good buddy. Yeah. Let's get the laughing out of the way, alright? I know what you'd say when the word citizens band come up. You've all seen the movies, Cannonball Run and all that crap. Hey, that's not quite what I'm talking about. CB radios used to be 23 channels and 5 watts. They stopped that. They made them 4 watts and went to 40 channels. Now, I'm not proposing a stock normal CB. I am suggesting you get a single sideband. A single sideband unit has the regular 40 channels, which all the other CBs have, but you have an additional 40 upper sideband channels and 40 lower sideband channels. Okay, now that's a lot of channels to choose from. That gives you a lot of opportunity to move around. Okay, You can pick a quiet frequency in your area. The new radios, of course, are going to be 4 watts on AM, which is the 40 channels of amplitude modulation, the 40 channels of CB, but on the single sideband it increases to 12 watts. Now 12 watts of power is a whole lot more power than 4. Even in crappy weather with halfway decent equipment, the 4 watts will talk across most of your major cities. Hard for me to gauge the mileage, but I dare say 30, 40 miles. Once you put it over on the sideband, that's a whole other story. You're talking quite a bit further. There's things you can do to increase that as well. If you've got an omnidirectional antenna, that's putting out a 365-degree signal. But if you get a directional antenna, what's referred to as a beam, you can point that signal right at who you want to talk to. And who you want to talk to gets the majority of the power. A little bit comes off the back, very little off the sides. People on the sides don't hear you talking. People far in the back don't hear you talking. Only those in front of you with the directional signal. Pretty handy if you want to pinpoint somebody. If they've got a beam and you've got a beam and you're pointing at each other, you may be talking together but nobody else nearby is hearing you because they're not getting your signal. Hence a little bit of security there. And you could also hop around. I mean, the military used this technique way back in the day. I dare say even, like World War II when radios were coming of its age. And then even further up in, say, Vietnam, they were simply, hey, go to tactical channel A. And then when you get to tactical channel A, they may say, all right, everyone go to tactical channel R. Got out your book and found out what tactical channel R was, and you went to it. Now you're having a conversation, and whoever might have been listening is back tuning in trying to find where you went because they're lost. There you can have a conversation.